The next time you're walking through campus, you might want to look down, but not at your phone, at the QR codes. Scan them and be transported 70, 80, 90, even over 100 years in the past. I'm here in my dorm room. I've got one of the boxes. Let's check it out and see how easy it is. But alongside email scams, legitimate emails from Northwestern offering COVID-19 vaccines. More than 50 buildings tell the story of Chicago's more than 100-year architecture history, and they do it all in just 90 minutes. Xander's moved on to teaching some other people how to do it at a lower height, and right now, that's me. And it's a lot harder than it looks. Pantry staff say that before the pandemic, it was so much more than just getting food into fridges. It was also about forming community relationships. Alvaro says although the library is filled with a whole lot of books, she knows that to a lot of people, the library is way more than just books. The market manager tells me that vendors need to be in their spots by 7 a.m. because people begin arriving early and they can't be moving giant trucks when there are people already walking around the farmer's market. Now that winter weather advisory ends at 6 p.m. and the Evanston trick-or-treat hours are scheduled from 4 to 7 p.m. So it's going to be sort of up to the trick-or-treaters whether they want to head outside. A new tour documenting Indigenous people, places, and events launched last week, and it's all right on your device.
In an email obtained by NNN, members of Chi Omega were told they should report feeling bullied or harassed to the university.
Given more than 400 tours aboard Chicago's First Lady over the last 14 years.
Underclassmen are back on campus. Our campus COVID cases going up.
After the party, the term super spreaders spray painted on this wall. This year, 9 out of the 11 remaining chapters are holding informal recruitment. 6 faculty members, including Winiger, writing an open letter to Provost Kathleen Haggerty, saying they're, quote, embarrassed on behalf of the university.
The IRS says they do not use email, text messages, or social media to discuss tax debts or refunds.
Polisky is one of 4 named defendants, plus Northwestern itself, in a lawsuit.
Welcome, believers.
It was standing room only at the opening of Democratic presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren's Evanston field office.
So, we are an activist community, a progressive community, just right for Elizabeth Warren.
Volunteers and supporters came to show their support for the Massachusetts senator.
I'm amazed to see just how engaged this community is with each other.
Some, quite literally, sang her praises.
Get the money men out of Congress, 'cause they've been doing bad business there.
Even though Warren came in 4th in New Hampshire last week, getting 9.2% of the vote, supporters say they're not worried as the primary heads to Nevada.
She's looking for the systematic change. She knows it's needed. I'm convinced.
Volunteers here tonight say that the real impact on this campaign won't come from social media, but it'll come from conversations person to person in neighborhoods around offices just like this one.
Having a visual presence in a neighborhood gets people to think, it gets people to pay attention.
And as Super Tuesday approaches, the campaign didn't waste any time calling for change.
My name's Ben. I'm a volunteer with the Elizabeth Warren Campaign for President. Am I speaking with Barry?
We've got 3 people going to the polls. Somebody's already voted for Warren. Nothing but slam dunks over here.
And while other Democratic candidates don't have a physical office next to campus, that's not keeping students from organizing on social media and in person.
Right now, we're canvassing, we're phone banking, and we're text banking throughout our various members.
NU College Dem's PR director Adam Downing says the new office gives students a chance to get politically active.
You can all of a sudden walk down there, you can see other Northwestern students inside of this space, make a real personal connection, and immediately take action.
Former State Senator Daniel Biss says that's what this office wants to take advantage of ahead of next month's Illinois primary.
This is just a tool to harness that energy, and I think that's, again, going to really pay dividends on March 17th.
Volunteers say they'll still be here long after the packed crowd from tonight's opening ceremony is gone, building support for Warren, person to person. Andrew Rowan, Northwestern News Network. After a year of doing just about everything online, we're justifiably a little jaded. But Northwestern IT says there's one group that definitely is not jaded at all, and that's email scammers.
You've got mail.
Your inbox, filled with a whole lot of links. Canvas updates, when to meet, Zoom links, vaccine appointments. and scams.
If you have an EDU account, meaning you work for or you go to an educational institution, you are the latest target for scammers.
Last month, the IRS alerting university students and staff of an impersonation scam, an email saying your tax refund payment has been recalculated. But alongside email scams, legitimate emails from Northwestern offering COVID-19 vaccines. So I decided to come onto campus and ask students, what are they willing to click on?
I would say we get most people.
First up, the actual IRS email scam posted by Northwestern IT, saying you're entitled to an additional $1,400 of tax refunds.
It says like, dear applicant, so they already don't know who I am. But like the IRS doesn't really contact you by email, I don't think. Do they?
We checked. The IRS says they do not use email, text messages, or social media to discuss tax debts or refunds.
I probably want to click this one.
But next, a real email from Northwestern's vaccine program coordinator offering first doses of the Moderna vaccine. All you have to do, click the hyperlink to fill out a survey.
They take me a survey. I don't know why I would need to take a survey for a vaccine.
While that email was legitimate and safe to click, students were in the right mindset.
Bad guys are always upping their game.
Northwestern IT says best practices to avoid being hacked is to be cautious, never reply to an unsolicited email with personal information, and look for bad grammar.
Security is everyone's responsibility, not the security department, because those who receive emails are on the front line of it.
Arnold from Northwestern IT tells me that if you're ever unsure about whether an email is legitimate, forward it to his team. The email address is security@northwestern.edu, and they'll investigate whether it's safe to click. The Ravenswood Community Services Food Pantry isn't officially scheduled to open until 5:30 p.m. But at 3:15, the line is already a dozen people deep, filled with regulars who know the pantry opens early.
If 2020 taught us anything, it was how to sort of not try to make too many predictions too far out.
It's been a busy year for Ravenswood, which distributed 420,000 pounds of food in 2020, more than double the amount from 2019.
And it was truly so sudden.
Last March, a sharp increase in demand for food, alongside a sharp change in operational procedures. Fans running, doors open, clipboard intake, and most impactful, volunteer groups of 50 per week to less than 12.
Some volunteers, they didn't blink. They didn't even think, oh, maybe I shouldn't go.
The pantry staff says volunteer Diane Dugard spends more time here now than she ever did before. In a world where so many things are out of control, Diane says she takes comfort in controlling one thing, getting food into her neighbors' hands.
I think this is the most important work we can be doing now.
Pantry staff say that before the pandemic, it was so much more than just getting food into fridges. It was also about forming community relationships.
All the volunteers really miss that interaction.
The dining room used to seat 200 for dinner each week, it's now a packing assembly line.
And now going forward, since we're going to be like this, I think our next step is to be, how can we be more accommodating?
One pantry serving food with a side of community. Andrew Rowan, Medill, School of Journalism.